64 and lows 51. And for Sunday, 63 and lows 49. For Radio Dixie and Radio St. George, this is Dennis Mattinson.
Oh yeah, that's the Midnight Special. That's the Midnight Special.
I'm Rich Warren, inviting you to tune in to our Midnight Special, folk music and farce, show tunes and satire, madness and escape. 2 hours weekly ranging from ancient ballads to cutting-edge singer-songwriters, classic Broadway shows, and the latest British comedy, all on the Midnight Special.
The Midnight Special, Saturday evenings from 7 till 9 on Radio St. George 100.3. Radio Dixie is sporting some new custom and embroidered swag, including bowling shirts, Dickie shirts, fleece jackets, t-shirts to be given away, cell phone wallets, bags, and a whole bunch more. And this is because of the Extreme team at Extreme Graphics. Screen printing, embroidery, vinyl, graphic design, Extreme Graphics with an X, a sweet sponsor of DSU Radio.
Affogato Gourmet Coffee, a fine sponsor of DSU Radio. Affogato Gourmet Coffee offers gourmet coffee, smoothies, pastries, and keto-friendly offerings. Affogato Coffee with live music on Sundays, coffee, hot chocolate, great company, and a funky environment. Behind tropical smoothies on 10th East and Red Hills Parkway. Affogato Gourmet Coffee.
Does discovering exciting cutting-edge gene technology excite you? Great, because at the Gene Girls Camp at Dixie State University, you'll be doing exactly that from August 5th through August 7th. Learn to isolate and identify and even edit using techniques like CRISPR. All activities are run and assisted by students from DSU for girls grades 9 through 10. For more information on the Gene Girls Camp, go to stem.dixie.edu. Brought to you by STEM Outreach.
Hi, this is Michael Harding.
This is Christina Harding.
And we're here for On the Arts. Come join us as we blow the lid off of all of these little artistic secrets we have here in St. George and Southern Utah. Go ahead and listen to us on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 p.m. till 5.
On Radio St. George 100.3 FM.
A service sponsored by the Dixie State University Student Association. Thank you. From Radio St. George at 100.3 FM.
Good morning and welcome to KDXI St. George, Radio St. George at 100.3 FM. It's our pleasure to present to you The Garden Show with Artie and Woody. It's time to find out, how does your garden grow? Here are your hosts for The Garden Show, Artie and Woody.
Oh my goodness, I guess that's us.
Whoa, baby.
Hey, welcome to The Garden Show, the Fun and Garden Show. How are you, Woody?
I'm here.
You're here. Well, at least
I had a rough night, but I'm here.
Okay. What, you partied all night long?
Yeah, I did.
Is that what you did?
The lawn chair lady showed up at my house. And,
oh.
Yeah, I had to entertain her. She was going to come over to your place, and I said no. So
now, okay, well, you gave me a sample of the sample bottle of the chili sauce.
Yeah,
and you've talked about this in the past couple of weeks. And actually, when we've been talking about food, food
right.
You can make from your garden. And, and you actually put this recipe online, right?
Right. It's on our website.
Now, what website is that?
Funandgarden.com.
Funandgarden.com. And so let me have another bite here.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow, it's really good. It's kind of sweet.
Tangy.
Yeah, sweet and savory in a way.
Yeah.
That would go great with.
It turned out really good this year.
Yeah, I think so. Mrs. Woody.
Yeah, she did the great stuff. I went and had a nap, and she seasoned it. And
so Mrs. Woody made this.
Yeah.
This is great. I could taste a little bit of fruit mixed with tomato.
Tomatoes, green
onions.
peppers, onions, pickling spices. Apples.
I want to say a little bit of cinnamon too, or some or nutmeg, or
I don't think so.
No, I
brown sugar, brown sugar.
I'm tasting some sweetness, but I guess I don't have my spices.
And vinegar.
Vinegar, is that what it is?
Yeah.
So, no, it's great. You can put this on chips. And a really really good salsa, or like you said, you put it on a roast, or what else do you do with it?
Roast or steak, pork roast, ribs, anything like that.
Put it in tacos.
My brother uses it at breakfast on his scrambled eggs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And it's
Of course, he's a little strange.
No, it's a chili sauce. It's not. It's not really spicy. It's kind of
no.
And I like that because you do have a little bit of a chili taste to it.
Right.
But it doesn't really just smack your face.
And you'll at the store you'll see bottles of chili sauce, and you buy them and they're totally different. They're not like that at all.
So this is kind of like a sweet salsa.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about the history of this sauce.
Well, the recipe came from my ancestors were clear back in Georgia.
Oh.
And they immigrated across to Texas and lived in Texas for a few years, and then they came across the Southwest and up into Utah, and they brought this recipe with them, and it's just a family tradition for about 200 years now.
Wow, family tradition. And you've shared that recipe online on funandgarden.com.
Right. And if you download it or give it a try, then I'll send you a bill.
No, of course you want people's feedback and
yeah, feedback's good, and then I'll charge them maybe 6-8 cents.
And also, I believe on funandgarden.com you can listen to past episodes of our shows,
right?
Make comments and
visit with Harvey.
Now,
he's the garden guru.
Give us a hint who Harvey is.
Well, he's our mascot, and he had one question this week, but it was a question I put on there.
Okay.
I put, people don't believe that you and I talk, and he said, well, you tell them that we do. So I visited with him this week a couple of times.
So, folks, if you want to know who Harvey is, log on to funandgarden.com. And if you have a recipe handed down from generations to generations, such as this wonderful chili sauce that you made,
right?
Of course, you can post that online as well. We'd love to have it.
Maybe salsa. I'd love to have a salsa recipe.
Yeah. So, I don't know how to identify this. I mean, this is really, really good.
It's the kind of thing that's a little different than anything else.
It's kind of like a salsa. Oh, I can put it up.
You're going to eat it again, aren't you?
Yeah. You can see me eat it on our Facebook live stream and also on YouTube.
That. By the way, that's all you get this year. So.
Oh. What?
Yeah.
No presents?
Yeah.
Nope. This is the only present I get?
Yeah. That's your birthday and your Christmas.
Awesome. I still owe Woody and Miss Woody a what's it called? A
cheesecake.
A cheesecake, because Miss Woody she sewed up my train jumpsuit, or what do you call it? Overalls.
Coveralls.
And that's how Woody and I met. We started at the train park, the city train park,
and
together.
It's been love at first sight.
Yeah, you've been bugging me. You bugged me for a while about doing a show, and we talked to our good friend Sean Denovan over here at Dixie State University, and we pitched the idea to him, and look,
it's worked out good. We've been, since Thanksgiving? What's that? 8 months?
Yeah, we've been going strong. We've been going great.
Yeah.
And we have another friend, Victor. Victor does his.
He does the big band.
Yep, and we know Victor from the train park as well.
Yeah.
So.
It's been fun. I enjoy it. I really do.
Absolutely.
I found something this week that people might be interested in. If you have a smartphone and you want to download an app.
Oh, you're telling me about this off air.
Yeah. If you go on to your app store and put in plant identifier, it downloads and it's free. And if you go out, if you have something in your garden, you don't know the name of it, you take a picture of it, and it'll identify it.
No kidding.
And if it can't identify it, you can hit a button, and it'll shoot it to their experts. And they say within 24 hours, they'll email you back and tell you what kind of plant it is.
Is that a free app?
Yeah.
Free service?
Yeah.
That is cool.
I mean, you can buy the version that costs. It's more sophisticated.
Yeah.
But they have a free version.
Sure. Like mini apps.
Yeah,
out there.
because my neighbor was asking me about this one plant that we got last year, and I'd forgotten the name. So I went in and looked and downloaded the app and went out and took a picture, and it told me what it was. So
that's awesome.
That's pretty neat, you know.
Now, what's the name of that app again?
Oh, I think it's called Plant It.
Plant It.
Yeah.
Something with that.
Something like that.
That's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great idea.
Yeah, that's, I love things that are free.
Yeah.
And I love things that, something like that, you can look like you're really smart. And you know the name of things.
Hey, you are really smart. Woody, this past week, you adjusted my sprinklers because I'm having some brown spots, and we were talking off the air how freaking hot it is, and how 10 degrees really
makes a lot of difference.
Really makes a
when
a
it
difference.
goes from 100 to 107, 8, 9.
Yeah.
It was 110 on my patio yesterday.
Oh my!
That makes a lot of difference with the plants. It makes a huge amount of difference.
And
it takes them to a point where they're just lucky to be alive rather than flourishing.
Well, I started to water some of my rose bushes a little bit more, like the one in front of my house, and because it's really struggling. And we talked off the air about maybe what what else I could do, and you suggested Miracle Grow. Of course, they have special rose
right
additives and formulas out there, but you just said just put some Miracle Grow on it.
Yeah, that helps. And I think last week we talked about Epsom salts, and that's I read an article about that, and it's if you have tomato plants, and it says if the leaves are starting to turn yellow and brown and die, and your tomatoes get to a certain size and they don't get bigger, to put Epsom salts on it. Epsom salts is magnesium sulfate, and it causes the root ball of the tomato plant to enlarge and grow stronger, so that it gives more nourishment to the top of the plant.
Would you only put that on tomatoes?
No,
or would you put it
on? You can put it on trees, on lawn.
It's not going to kill it?
No. No, you know that hose end sprayer you've got?
Yeah.
And I've got one. Instead of putting Miracle Grow in it, put Epsom salts, and it'll mix it the same way and shoot it out.
Okay, so tell
and you can water your lawn with it, water the trees. It won't hurt.
So it's kind of like Miracle Grow in a way.
In a way, except for instead of having 4 or 5 different additives, it only has one, and that's magnesium.
Okay.
But magnesium is a hard element to, if you don't have it in your soil, it's hard to get it in your soil unless you get something like Epsom salts. Now, the other way you can do it is just to take and go to the stem of the plant and put a couple of teaspoons around there and then water it in. Epsom salts, like Miracle Grow, is water soluble. And so it dissolves with water, and then it goes down into the ground, and then the plant looks out there and says it sees this magnesium, and it grabs it and takes it. And
would you say that you would need to do that more here in southern Utah?
I would, because the soil here is so terrible.
Yeah.
But I know I have a magnolia tree, and years ago when I first got that tree, I was in Florida at Disney World, and there was a gardener there taking care of their magnolia trees. And course, they have great, big, beautiful ones. And I asked him, I said, I live in St. George, Utah, and I have a magnolia tree. What is the secret to keeping them healthy?
Mm-hmm.
And he says, magnolia trees need magnesium, and you need to put magnesium on them a couple of times a year.
No.
Well, I didn't know how you got magnesium. I didn't know that Epsom salts was magnesium, but it is. And on the bag of Epsom salts, it'll tell you it's for sore muscles and this thing and that thing. And then at the bottom it says it's plant food.
Oh, wow.
So it's I found out that the name Epsom is from a little town over in England where they first discovered this magnesium.
No, that's interesting.
And, it's like saying, St. George something or other. Well, this is Epsom salts. And that's the common name, but I guess that is less confusing than putting magnesium sulfate because people would be scared of that.
Well, that's a tip that you stole from Disney World.
Yeah.
And that's why all your trees look like are shaped like Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse.
Yeah. And Goofy.
And Goofy, too.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and Donald Duck. Goofy was always my favorite. No, you know who I liked? I liked Foghorn Leghorn. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked him.
Now you're going into Warner Brothers territory.
Oh, yeah.
With,
Well,
Speedy.
It's an animated.
Speedy Gonzalez.
Foghorn Leghorn. He was always fighting with the dog.
That's right.
There was a dog in his yard that he was always trying to.
What was the dog's name? Anyway, yeah. That's funny. Well, what's on the show today? What are we going to be talking about?
First thing we're going to talk about, I want to do another section on tomatoes because tomatoes are the critical thing, and right now is a critical time. And for those listeners that haven't heard some of this, I want to repeat it because it's important.
Okay.
The last 2 or 3 weeks, my tomatoes have kind of started to look, I won't say sick, but at least they're not doing anything. They're not getting bigger or better, or
Is the skin kind of wrinkled a little bit, or
no,
something? Or how do you know if
not
it's
the tomato itself, but the leaves on the tomato plants down at the bottom of the plant, the leaves are turning yellow and dying.
Oh,
and the tomatoes aren't getting any bigger. So I've been reading about I started out by putting more water on them because I thought, well, it's getting hot and maybe they need more water. And that didn't seem to make a difference. So that's when I come up with the magnesium.
Oh, okay.
So last Saturday, I bought some Epsom salts and put around it, watered it in.
Have you seen a difference?
It takes a little while, but no, I didn't see any difference.
Oh.
And so yesterday, I thought, well, I'm going to do some Miracle Grow. So I got a tube of the Miracle Grow and put in the sprayer, and I watered each plant with some Miracle Grow and see if that makes a difference. But see, right now is the premium time that they should be producing tomatoes. And mine have produced, up to about a week ago, they were producing 20 tomatoes a day.
Is it just the heat?
Well, that's certainly part of it, but they should be producing some,
Mm-hmm. At least something.
I've got a couple of plants that have not had a tomato on them. They're not blooming and they're not producing. So each year I kind of keep track of the type of tomatoes that I buy. And then if they do well, I buy the same kind the next year. If they don't, I try something else.
No.
So I've got this one type that I bought that I'm kind of disappointed in. And so next year I'll buy something else.
So what do you like to grow? I mean, what works well for you down here?
I like the 4th of July, and you can buy the seeds from Burpee, or you can buy the plants from Scandia, the greenhouse out in Washington Fields.
Now, how are they different from
Well,
from the other tomatoes?
They're
or
an early
like,
tomato. Most tomatoes take about 90 days from the time they are set out in the garden till the time that you can pick fruit. And 4th of July is a 50-day tomato.
Oh, wow.
And so they call it 4th of July because you can usually harvest by the 4th of July. And the only thing that I'm not real crazy about with the 4th of July is it's not a very big tomato.
It's not.
It's about the size of a tennis ball.
Oh.
And I like the bigger ones, of course, but it is a good tasting tomato. And you do get quite a few on a plant.
Now, after you harvest, I mean, do they still
Should still keep going.
Still keep going
Because it's an indeterminate.
Indeterminate.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the other one that I like, I get out at Ballard's in Hurricane, and it's a Goliath. And they have early Goliath, they have bush Goliath, they have climbing Goliath, they have a bunch of different kinds.
So many different varieties.
And
That's
theoretically, they're a very large tomato. But I haven't had the luck with those this year. I don't know what I'm doing something wrong, you know.
Well, a lot of that is trial and error. I
It
guess,
is,
right?
it is, and each year is different. And you know, this year we had the wet spring, and then all of a sudden, you know, it's 100 degrees, and the tomatoes just kind of spit up. They just didn't know what to do when it got to be 100 degrees, and so. But I think the secret is don't just leave them alone and sit there and wonder what it is. Try something. One of the things that I've done on my tomatoes is at the bottom of the plant where the leaves die, I trim those leaves off. You don't want to leave them on the bottom because if you've got a virus on your tomato, those leaves will transfer the virus up the stalk to the next set of leaves.
Oh.
And it'll just keep going. And I've also trimmed my tomatoes, and we've talked about trimming before, and I'd like to talk about that a little bit. The one thing that trimming does two things. First of all, it opens the tomato plant for air to get through and sunlight and air to pass through the plant. Tomato plants can get so thick that air can't hardly get through them, and you're more likely to get mildew and virus.
I was going to say mold and mildew will probably attack this.
The other thing it does is it takes away some of the plant so that the strength of the tomato plant goes into the tomato instead of into the plant. So let's talk a little bit about trimming. A lot of people that I talk to about trimming, they're scared to death to do it.
Now, why is that?
Well, because they're afraid they're not doing it right, and they're afraid they're going to actually hurt the tomato plant. I've done it now for 6-7 years, and I've always felt like it's been beneficial. I saw it demonstrated on a website from England, and in England they're very, very serious about gardening. And they keep tomatoes in greenhouses, and they'll keep them for 10 years because they don't freeze, and they'll keep trimming them a certain way so they keep producing tomatoes.
Wow.
And they'll be 17, 18 feet high, and they have to pick the tomatoes with a ladder.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's kind of neat. So anyway, they start at the bottom of the plant, and the middle portion of the plant, the stalk, we'll call it the stalk. That's the main backbone of the plant that goes from top to bottom. And then limbs come off of it. So if you look at the limbs that come off the stalk, first of all, you don't want any limbs any closer to the ground than about 6 inches.
Okay.
So trim those off. And then when you look at the limbs, the ones that have blossoms on, leave them alone. The ones that have just leaves, there's two kinds of limbs, the ones that blossom and the ones that just produce leaves. Well, the ones that produce leaves are a waste of the plant. Don't cut them all off, but cut about 50% of those off. Mm-hmm. And it's important how you cut them off. You want to get some nice, sharp trimmers, and you want to trim them right where the limb comes off the stem. Don't leave a half inch or an inch of stem there, or of limb. Mm-hmm. Cut them right flush with the stem. And so then you kind of go top to bottom, and you take out about 50% of those. And when you take them out, don't let them lay in the plant. Move them out, throw them on the ground, get rid of them. And then the other thing that happens is where a limb comes off of the stem, after a tomato's like a month old, it'll start to send up a little shoot right there. And if you let it go, it turns into another limb. Those are called suckers. And they're really bad to take away strength from the tomato.
Okay.
So you can reach in with your fingers and just pinch those off. But so you want to take off half the limbs that are leaves only, and then you want to be sure and get rid of those suckers. And then some people will go up to the top of the plant and they'll nip the top knot.
If you're going to prune the top of it.
Prune the top.
Really?
So it can't grow taller. It forces it to grow into the tomatoes. And if this works, when I do it, my tomatoes get about 30% bigger.
They do?
Within about 2 weeks.
Just simple pruning will help out with that. Well, in about 40 seconds, we're going to take a break. Now, are you gonna be talking about insects that might affect tomato plants?
Yeah, we're gonna go back now that we've talked about tomatoes and finish out the organic gardening that we had last week.
Okay.
So let's get on our horse and ride.
You like this music?
I do. I love it.
It sounds like horse riding music.
I've got a couple of horses out front.
It's the Fun and Garden Show with Woody on Artie, exclusively on Radio St. George 100.3. We'll be back with a little bit more about tomatoes and organic.
Organic stuff.
Yep, sounds great.
All right.
This is Lisa Cypers Kamen, host of Harvesting Happiness.
Tune in.
We now return to the Garden Show with Artie and Woody.
All right, it is the Fun and Garden Show starring Woody.
We're back. We're back. We went for a little horse ride, and we're back.
Now, folks, you can interact with us at any time. Of course, we'd love to hear from you. The best way to find out how you can contact us is going to funandgarden.com.
Yes.
That's a great place to post a question or get the chili recipe.
Yeah.
Yep. It's kind of Woody gave me a sample of the chili salsa that he and Mrs. Woody made.
Yeah, she's a wonderful lady.
She is awesome.
I know.
Well, let me ask you about that. About the salsa. Well, I call it salsa, but it's your chili sauce.
Right.
So, did a lot of the items come from your garden?
Well, as many tomatoes as I could get at once.
Okay.
And I couldn't get enough because to do a batch, it takes like 18 pounds.
Wow.
And so I went out to Fry's in Santa Clara.
Oh.
And bought the rest of them out there. And they'll,
that's a great place to buy
I
fresh
got to put a
stuff
plug
from.
in for Fry's.
Yeah.
Boy, they have good stuff.
They sure
Their
do.
tomatoes are. Some years when they can't get them locally, they'll buy them from Colorado.
Oh, really?
But this year they got them locally. And the tomatoes are about the size of a softball.
Oh, my goodness.
And to slice them and eat them on like a bacon and tomato, it takes one slice to cover the whole sandwich.
Wow.
And they are good.
Well, ideally, you would like to grow everything that goes into the salsa, but you still got fresh ingredients from other places like Fry's.
It takes like 16 or 18 green peppers. That's a lot to grow yourself.
Sure.
And the trick is, though, the main ingredient is the tomato, and it has to be a good tasting tomato. One year we had enough tomatoes, but they didn't taste that good, and the salsa wasn't that good. So the taste of the tomato makes a lot of difference. And Fry's has they have watermelons that they've grown. They've got tomatoes. They've got a cantaloupe. They've got a lot of different things, and it's just a neat place. Plus, you're supporting people that are local.
Absolutely.
And that's a good thing to do.
Well, I'm tasting a little bit more of the chili sauce.
Yeah, I know. There's not going to be much left, is there?
Nope. You can log on to funandgarden.com to get the recipe, his family recipe. And one last thing before we continue on, I guess, about the salsa. You said there's some fruit in it. What kind of fruit?
Apples. Some apples. Yeah. Apples and onions and celery.
Oh, wow.
And green peppers and a couple of jackrabbits that I shot. No. You grind them up. You have to grind up the jackrabbits.
So funandgarden.com has the recipe of Woody's family
secret stuff.
Yeah, secret stuff. And if you'd like to, add your secret recipe, please log on to funandgarden.com. All right. So before the break, we were talking about tomatoes.
Organic.
We were talking.
Oh, tomatoes. Yeah.
Yeah, we were kind of wrapping up your tomato chat. Chat about tomatoes, and then I think you wanted to go on to organic items.
Right.
So.
Tomatoes, I love tomatoes, and the one kind of tomato that always seems to be successful are the little salad tomatoes. And Juliet is one that's it's elongated, longer than, it's not round, it's elongated. And it's one that's particularly good tasting. And it seems to me like any of those salad tomatoes,
like the cherry tomatoes,
they do really well. They've got the yellow pear tomatoes. They've got and you can when we're doing tacos, we take those and just cut them in half so that they'll be juicy. And if we're doing a tossed salad, we just throw a bunch of those in there, and they're
can't
really
beat it.
good. They're
Yep.
really good.
Can't beat it.
And another thing with salads that we've been pretty fortunate this year are cucumbers.
Oh, okay.
We've gotten probably a couple of dozen cucumbers this year so far.
No.
And they're really good, and they're really great in a salad.
You've had success with cucumbers.
Yeah,
Good.
this year has been pretty good that way. Over in England, they have cucumber sandwiches.
Oh, that sounds gross.
They'll take a couple of slices of bread and they'll put cucumber on it, and that's it. But I think they put. I'm not sure if they put cream cheese or sour cream, or they put some sort of spread on it, and I don't know what it is. If anybody out there in listener land has been to England and knows what they put on a cucumber sandwich, why, Artie's getting on the computer, and we'll find out, because I love cucumbers, but I'm old-fashioned. My mother used to take them and peel them and slice them and put them in ice-cold water, and then put a little vinegar in them and a little salt and a little sugar, and let them soak in the fridge for a day.
Oh, you're talking about you're referencing these fancy little tea cucumber sandwiches that they make at little fancy parties.
Yeah.
At England, mixed cream cheese, mayonnaise, garlic powder, onion, salt, and a word I can't pronounce.
Cream cheese.
Worcestershire.
Oh,
Worcestershire sauce.
Yeah,
Yep.
Worcestershire W sauce.
And divide cucumber slices over half the.
Yeah, honey, if you're listening, that's what you put on cucumber sandwiches. Cream cheese and.
They look too fancy to me.
Well, what else was it they put
I
on?
don't know. Oh, mayonnaise, cream, garlic powder, onion, salt, and
that'd all be good.
Worcestershire.
I think I'd put more
Worcestershire
cream
sauce.
cheese than I would mayonnaise. I'm not a.
I
don't love mayonnaise like some people do.
Well, I would decrease the mayonnaise, increase the cream cheese, and decrease the cucumbers.
Cucumbers, Artie, can be, and I don't know what you're referring to, but cucumbers can be really, when you eat them, they cause you indigestion.
Oh, yeah.
They can really be, and now they've developed what they call a burpless cucumber, which means they're mild and they won't give you that indigestion.
There is such a thing?
Yeah, and there's a lot of cucumbers, and the ones we're growing this year are like this. They're very mild.
Oh, okay.
You don't have that taste at all from, that makes that come back on you.
Yeah.
So I think they would be good on a sandwich. And then you can always cut them up and use them as Frisbees.
Okay.
Yeah, and have a cucumber toss.
Great advice.
Yes, thank you. I want to talk a little bit now and go back to organic stuff, and we run out of time last week. One of the things that this article mentions is that you can grow things that you don't have to have 5 acres of land to grow stuff. You can grow stuff in containers on your patio. You can grow stuff even in the house in hanging baskets and so on and so forth. And then it suggests that you use organic fertilizers. And organic fertilizers would be like compost from your compost pile, if you have one, or you buy compost, or there's things like the fish fertilizers that are liquid, and you
even a fish. There's even such a thing.
Yeah, there's
a
fish fertilizer that's basically, I guess, processed fish into liquid, and you'll put like a tablespoon or a couple of tablespoons in a quart of water, mix it up, and then water the plant with it.
Well, I have one of those hanging baskets, and like everything else in my life, everything I grow dies.
Yeah.
So give me some advice.
You're probably a distant relative of my wife's. Another thing you can do is to make compost tea.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of that?
No, you have mentioned that.
Well, you take a
You have mentioned
you
that.
take
in the
a
past, I
piece of
think.
cheesecloth
Okay.
and you put your compost in it. You know, compost is dry and it's got different organic matter in it, and you tie it so that it's like a pouch,
Okay.
and then you put it in like a quart of water and you let it soak for a week.
Uh-huh.
And as it soaks, the elements come out of it in the water.
Okay. So that's
And
that's
then-
gonna help
yeah,
it.
and that's why they call it tea, because it's like putting a tea bag in there. And so then after a week, you take out that bag of compost and take the water and water your plants. And the advantage to that is it gets to the root of the plant really, really quick.
So that's going to help me overcome my problem of planting things.
Right.
Okay.
Now,
So
here's the thing, though, Artie. You don't drink it. You water the plant with it. If you drink it, you'll turn into a cucumber.
oh, okay. So with my hanging basket, possibly some organic materials like you're mentioning might
Right.
give me a little bit more progress and
the
success.
drawback to compost, regular compost
Uh-huh.
is you dig it around the plant, and that's great, but it takes weeks for it to get down and start to break up, and the tea gets you there quicker.
That makes sense.
This time of year, you don't have a month to wait for the compost to.
No way.
You got to get on there. So it talks about different fertilizers. Most of them should be water soluble. And you know what that is, right?
Yeah, it dissolves.
Right. It dissolves in water, and they should be
That makes
natural.
sense.
This time of year, you
They
don't
shouldn't
have a
be
month to
anything
wait that's synthetic. That's So if it doesn't say organic on the bag of the fertilizer that you use, I don't use it.
Okay.
If you're going to go into this, and like Miracle Grow is water soluble and it's organic, so
Okay.
it's really good that way. And then last week, I think we talked about the three numbers on the fertilizer, so you have to kind of be careful about that. Two of the successful fertilizers for tomatoes, particularly, if you go to like Star Nursery or Walmart, one of them is bone meal, and that's just simply bones of animals, that they grind up.
Huh.
And you have a lot of calcium in it and a lot of B vitamins. And the other one is blood meal.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's actually blood that's been dried and powdered.
Really?
And it's a really good fertilizer.
That helps.
It's like, blood from cows that they dry and sell. And it really is. If you have a plant that's in trouble, not doing well, if you put blood fertilizer on it, if it doesn't come out of it, it's really sick, because that stuff will really help.
Well, it sure helped my plant Seymour too.
It what?
Or no, Aubrey too. My plant Aubrey too loves that blood fertilizer.
That isn't a vampire kind of thing, is it?
It's a reference to that play. Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh,
my Aubrey 2 plant.
I see.
Loves blood.
See, I'm not into the blood thing. I had a girlfriend once that used to try to get in my neck thing there, but I had too tough a neck. So that's fertilizer that we've talked about. So just try to get the natural stuff and so on. And now we're going to talk about pests, how to control pests with an organic insecticide.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, because there's all kinds of insecticides. And then last week we talked about one particular one, permethrin. And it comes from chrysanthemums.
Chrysanthemum?
Yeah. And it's an element in the flower itself, and they extract it, and they process it, and they make it into a liquid, and bugs hate it.
Okay.
It kills them deader than Mother Frickett's underwear.
So can you buy this at Star or whatever?
Yeah. Look on the back of the bottle, and where it says active ingredients, it'll say permethrin.
So a lot of people probably want to go that direction because of
it's natural and it's organic, yeah.
Okay.
And it not only kills the insects, it repels them. So permethrin is a really good one. If you plant chrysanthemums in your garden, if you take notice, they never have bugs on them.
Wow.
Never.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and they'll actually repel bugs from your garden.
Huh.
But permethrin is usually it's at a strength of about 2% on the stuff you buy that you mix into a hose-in sprayer and spray. When they're trying to kill termites is probably the hardest bug to kill there is.
Really?
And they use permethrin, but they use it at about 30%. And not only will it kill termites, but it'll sterilize the ground for about 5 years. You won't have any.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, but you got to get the 30%. And I don't think that it's legal to sell the 30% permethrin to anybody that happens to come through the door. I think you have to have a license like an exterminator does.
Oh, no kidding.
To buy the 30%. Yeah. Yeah. And you have to go to a place like Steve Regan Company and those places that deal with exterminators. But anyway, permethrin is a really good natural one. And they're talking about one for, let's see, you can create your own recipes. One of them is permethrin with insecticidal soap. And for aphids, you can use the dish soap from your kitchen, and you can put different elements in it, like vinegar.
Yeah, now
vegetable oil.
I've heard about vinegar. I've heard vinegar actually is a good natural.
Well, vinegar is an acid, but it has a natural repellent in it. There isn't any insects that like vinegar. One of the natural ones they talk about for slugs and snails. If you have slugs and snails can really be a problem. They can eat plants down.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll eat them right down to the ground, and you'll look and you'll say, I thought I had a plant there. And it's gone, man. It's right off of the ground.
How do you get rid of those naturally?
Well, there's several ways. Of course, you can put salt on them, and that's fun to watch because they turn to green foam.
Do they?
Yeah. One of the ways I like to do it that's particularly fun is you take a spray bottle and fill it about 2/3 full of water and then put 1/3 ammonia in it.
Oh, wow.
And then you stand up by the garden, and if you see a snail, you squirt it, and it does the green foam trick to them.
But I thought you liked to keep some of those snails and fry those up with some vegetables.
Well, the big ones.
Butter.
Yeah, the big ones you do.
Now, back to the ammonia trick. Does it kill the plants?
No.
Also? Or
no.
Okay, so...
No.
So we're talking about a good natural way of getting rid of those bugs without
and
rid of the plants.
Another way to do it, if you want to really go natural, is you take a saucer and you put it in your garden, and you kind of bury it so that it's level with the soil in your garden, and then you open a can of beer and put the beer in the saucer.
Really?
Yeah, the beer will kill the snail. They'll crawl in it, and it's howdy oats. they're gone.
Huh.
The beer will get them.
Now, okay, so I have a whole bunch of cockroaches that like to, hang out on my porch. Now, I heard that that's kind of the same thing where you get like a container of Coke or.
I haven't heard that. Look on the web and see if it says that. I
didn't mean to derail.
No,
you, but I'm just
cockroaches
saying,
are a problem, and yeah. So
a natural way to kill cockroaches. All right. Let's see. Baking. 7 natural home remedies to kill roaches fast.
You put them in an oven and bake them?
Yes, exactly. No, number 1 is baking soda and sugar.
Oh.
Boric acid, fabric softener spray. So maybe I'll just spray fabric softener spray on my porch.
Yeah.
Bay leaves, lemon peel, or lemon juice, coffee traps.
You mix that all together some way?
Yeah. Well, anyway, interesting. So,
and they sell pellets that you can buy for snails and slugs, and you just take them out of a bag and sprinkle them in the garden. And they'll last a couple of weeks, and if the snail climbs over them, it puts them to death.
Ugh.
It's got a chemical in it that puts them to death. One of the other things you can do is take coffee grinds, or you can take seashells and grind them up.
Oh, yeah.
Eggshells.
Yep, that's what I'm looking at. Natural ways to kill snails, and number 6 on the list is scattered eggshells. And your bear trap is at number 3. So, hey, you know what you're talking about.
Well, I'm sorry.
What the heck?
But these eggshells and stuff, they're sharp. And when the snail, climbs over them, it cuts him up.
Is that what?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And coffee grinds, I think, are the same way. Another thing you can do, they sell this tape that if you hang in a tree, it's shiny on both sides, and it kind of scares away the birds. Well, you can buy that tape that's got copper in it. And copper is a natural element that kills insects.
So does it deter or does it just
it kills them? The chemical in copper,
really?
It'll put to death anything that is an insect that touches it.
So it's okay. So there's strips of copper. Are they? That sounds expensive,
copper
isn't it? Or?
Tape. I don't think so. Not when you buy the shiny tape. It just has enough in it. I'm an old aquarium guy, and if you have a great big aquarium full of expensive fish, and your grandchild drops a penny in it, the next day all the fish will be dead.
Really?
Yeah. Copper really gets them.
Huh.
Yeah.
Copper tape is used to keep slugs and snails out of certain areas of the garden, potted plants, and trunks of fruit trees and other trees and shrubs. Boy, I'm fact checking you. That's what I'm doing. I'm fact checking you.
I know. That's okay. I'm not as scared.
I'm just kidding.
No, I'm not scared.
No, I'm just fascinated by all these natural ways of killing things. So cool.
It says to take dryer sheets and put them just under the soil. And it must be a chemical on those. I don't know what else it would be.
No, you're talking about snails and slugs still. Okay.
Yeah. Just cover them a little bit with soil and let them wander in there. And maybe it makes them soft. I don't know.
Well, and plus,
smell good.
I was about to say, yeah. You have some nice smelling bugs, dead bugs.
Yeah. And then, of course, last week we also talked, and we'll say it again, there are bugs that eat bugs. Ladybugs are a bug that eats everything small, like aphids and fleas and those kind of things. Ladybugs, the little ladybug that's so sweet, that takes the car to the store once a month and all that, is a murderer. She murders aphids.
Oh, really?
And then the grand murderer of all murders are the praying mantises.
Okay.
And they eat everything.
Now, you mentioned that in the past where kind of going back to ladybugs, you could buy that like at Star Nursery.
Star Nursery.
But
in the spring. I don't think they have. I think they're out of them now.
But how can you, dumb question, can you buy praying mantis?
Oh, yes.
You can?
Yeah, they come in a little cocoon. And
you have mentioned that in the past. That's right.
You tied the cocoon and hang it in a tree, and they'll hatch out, and the little praying mantises are about a 1/4 inch long. And I've put them in my yard before, and by the end of the summer, they're like 6 inches long.
No kidding.
And I had a praying mantis in my yard once that my dog was scared of.
Wow.
This thing would stand up and fight with the dog.
Wow.
But they eat.
But they're a good thing.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Wow.
The only thing is you have to remember, if you take the money and you go buy ladybugs or you go buy praying mantises, then you turn around and spray with insecticide, guess what?
Oh, yeah.
You've killed your bugs.
Yeah.
You've killed the ones that are eating the bugs. So you have to kind of decide which way you're going to go. And, 5 or 6 praying mantises in a yard will keep it clean.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah. I wonder how they do with cockroaches. That would be interesting to know.
I hate cockroaches.
I
Just
do
can't
too.
stand them.
I like to give them free trips. You know how you get a free cruise?
Oh,
yeah. I give them a free all-expense trip to my garbage can.
My cats actually like to play with them at night and and of course they like to drop them at the edge of my bed when I wake up as a gift.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, it's their way of showing love.
You think so? Either that or showing hate. Well, I think I like cockroaches less than you. If I had somebody putting them on my bed, I think I'd be upset. One more element in this article. It says when you purchase plants and seeds. I know I work for Burpee.
Yeah.
Garden products, and we sell organic seeds. If you're going to go organic, you got to get the organic seeds. And they also sell organic plants. If you order a plant from them, it'll get there in about a week, and there are plants that they guarantee are organic and have been grown organic. And again, they're like the seeds. They cost a little bit more.
But they're worth it. You get what you pay for.
They're organic, yeah.
Oh.
One of the things they started doing 5 or 6 years ago, and I tried them one year, but you know how with a tree they splice on a different root?
Yeah.
And they splice on roots that are stronger than the native tree has. Mm-hmm. And then there's that little knob at the bottom of the tree where they splice them together.
Yeah.
They're starting to do that with tomato plants.
Oh, really?
They graft a different root system on the tomato plants, and it's a root system that's a lot larger and stronger. Mm-hmm. And particularly where it's hot weather, you can dig a hole and put those in, and you have a tomato like a super tomato.
Interesting.
Yeah. And there's 4 or 5 different varieties that they do that with. If you get a catalog, and I think they're called Mighty Mo, like you remember Super Mouse or yeah, it's
Mighty
like
Mo.
that.
Well, guess what?
Oh no, we're not done, are we?
We're done.
I was going to
that
sing,
hour went by fast. We had a fun time.
I was going to sing the Star Spangled Banner.
So great organic tips. Of course, if you'd like to, give us some feedback or see past episodes of our wonderful show, log on to funandgarden.com. You bet. And ask
questions and ask Harvey questions.
Absolutely. All right.
And he'll answer you back.
Well, we want to thank Sean Denovan. Thanks for letting us do this show. He is the Gru Papa. Wait, that's
Grand Poopah.
Grand Poopah. See, I'm trying.
Yeah.
I knew that was something that you always that you always said.
You know,
and I couldn't remember what it is.
Artie,
Grand Poobah.
I'm thinking that if somebody asks Harvey a question, we ought to let him come have a free ride.
Oh, a free ride on Harvey?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So log on to funandgarden.com to see Harvey, and we'll be back next week.
We probably will.
Okay.
Nice. We keep coming back.
Nice chatting with you, Woody. Have a great week and a great day.
Same to everybody out there.
All right, folks. Thanks for listening to the Fun and Garden Show on Radio St. George 100.3.
You've been listening to The Garden Show. For audio and/or video